Hello, HCC Eagles. I want to thank you guys today for joining us for our real life discussion on a topic that we will not stay silent about as in domestic violence. So today we have our guest speaker with us, Dr. Tangela Harris. Dr. Harris is a native Texan who has used her journey and her purpose to give life to others who have dealt with who are dealing with what she has dealt with. She is someone who empowers women, who empowers others, and brings a great spirit to this topic that we have stayed silent about. So without further ado, I would like to introduce to you Dr. Tangela Harris.
Hey, everybody. Great introduction. Woo-hoo. All right, let's get started. I know that this is definitely a topic that, people really kind of tiptoe around because, who really want to discuss, maybe someone abusing you or someone treating you less than who you are. And you expect so much more. And then, on the outside, we're smiling and we're just hee hee and ha ha. But then when we get home, we're dealing with, someone verbalizing negativity, or someone that's calling you out of your name, or someone that is angry all the time, or someone that's just depressed, or different situations all the time. And as women, we tend to think that that's our job, is to help them, or just take it, or it'll pass, somewhere down the road, or somewhere in our mind, we like, oh, it's gonna stop one day. What about those days when it might not stop? Well, for my story, I know that I discovered me. I discovered Tangela in the midst of all of this. I was a person in the beginning that I was the abuser. My first husband, I abused him. I abused him verbally as well as physically, not to the point where he had to call the police or anything like that. But even if you're tapping a person, or, shoving them or throwing something at them, that's all considered abuse. We don't see it that way because it's us. But then when we're on the receiving end, then we got a lot to say, because we realize that, what, that's not good. You realize that, what, I really was disrespecting that person. And that's what I realized on this journey. This is my previous marriage. I think I've been a survivor 7 years. I think it's 7 years now. Woohoo! Going into the 8th year, because last month was the 8th year it began. And because it happened, what was it, September 10th? And you got to understand, I'm a girl who went to war. Okay, I went to war. I fought in Gulf, in what's it, Desert Storm. I've been in the military. I was trained to kill, all of that. But one thing that I had always said to myself was, I can play military, I can play soldier, I can do all of that. But when I have kids, I'm not going to be like that. I'm not going to do that. So I changed the way I operated because I had my kids. Well. That meant that I took some things that I definitely should not have taken. And so after coming out, after he went to jail for 4 years for it, because I turned him in. And I can't tell you how scary it was to turn him in, because I'm just sitting there thinking, this is my husband. He loves me. Why would I go to the police on him? He gonna get in trouble. I thought more of him than I thought of myself. But I had a girlfriend. She was like, no, we're going to do the right thing. We're going to do what we need to do. But as well as I was sitting on the bed and I'm contemplating, I'm like, okay, should I call the police? Because now he's calling my phone. He's left me 37 different voice messages. And I mean, it really put more fear in me after the incident. And I heard a voice so audibly say, if women came to you in the same situation, what would you tell them? What would you advise them? And at that point, I called my girlfriend, who was actually there when it happened. And I called, I said, hey, I'm ready to go. I am ready to go to the police station. I've never had dealing with the police. So it was petrifying to me, because I'm just like, okay, are they going to think that I did something wrong? Or, how are they going to look at me? Are they going to say I'm stupid? Or are they going to say I'm dumb? I had all these different things going on in my mind just to go to the police station. So we pull up to the police station, and he's asking me questions, and I'm giving him answers, and I'm like, okay, I felt comfortable. But guess what? He showed me that pain, and that pain chart is a relationship chart. And I have it. And if anyone ever need one, I definitely will forward it to Miss Ashley, and she can distribute it to you. But there is a pain and a pain and suffering chart, and it had, you know, the different things, characteristics to look for in your relationship to know if it's a healthy relationship or if it's a challenging or a bad relationship. Well, my ex, he exhibited 9 of the 10 things on the chart. And I was sitting there and I started to cry because I was like, well, who would have ever told me to look for that? How would I have known to look for that in a person or to look for that in a relationship? So I took it as my mission to teach women and our teens how to recognize a healthy relationship, because we think that it's just natural. And it's something that I'm definitely working on a program now to even get it into the schools, because relationships are important. We have relationships with ourselves, we have relationship with our parents, our siblings, and then an intimate partner. You know, but you need to know what that looks like, because you know, some of us grew up in a dysfunctional household. We didn't think it was dysfunctional because it was our family. I never seen anyone get abused, but in my situation, I thought that I could change him. Yeah. I thought I could change him. I thought my prayers, I thought me being happy, I thought me doing different things for him. I just knew that I could change him. But guess what? It wasn't at the hands of this person to harm me. So I had to learn, wait a minute, hold up. I love me more than you. I love me more than sitting here allowing you to treat me a certain type of way. Now, I didn't deal with it daily. As a matter of fact, we had 3 different instances that really could have took my life. Those 3 instances could have took my life. It could have distracted my daughter to the point where she didn't want to have a relationship or something. Anything could have came out of the fact that he treated me a certain type of way. Now, when it was physical, my kids did not see it, and I'm so grateful they did not see that, because I definitely did not want them to think that that was the way of life. That is not the way of life, and that's darn sure is not love. That is not love. And so they only heard about it like after the fact. They heard about it when we were running for our lives because he threatened to harm us, you know. And so I left Houston and went to New Orleans for 4 or 5 days. But there I had a friend, and she was like, come on down, come on. And she had cooked, y'all, she cooked this big old elaborate meal. Oh my goodness, you would thought it was Thanksgiving. And we sat there, we laughed, we talked. It was so peaceful. I'm like, wow, okay, God, great. But that next morning, her and her husband, they said, come on, get up, let the kids stay asleep, get on up. And when I went to the kitchen, we had breakfast, they cooked breakfast. And they said, you were trained. Y'all got to excuse me because I'm getting kind of hot with this light shining. But I want you to be able to see me. All right. But but they said, they sat me down and they said, you were trained to kill. You were trained for war. You don't let nobody disrespect you and your family, and then you're gonna run away from it. Ouch. You know, I needed that. Not too many people want to hear their family and friends sit them down and say, hey, this is what's going on. But guess what? You're brave enough and you're equipped and you have the strength to handle it. So after they talked to me, they was like, now you can stay here as long as you need, but just know when you go back, handle it. And guess what? I stayed there those 5 days. And when I came back, I was ready to handle it. I was ready to handle the fact that I allowed this person in my life. Let me tell you about the red flags that I just looked over. he would get so angry at people if they cut him off or if they said something wrong or something he didn't like. But I never thought I would be on the receiving end of that. I think I've seen him get in a fight, a physical fight. Again, never thought I would be on the receiving end of that. Then I seen how when he couldn't work. He couldn't work because he attracted West Nile. Y'all remember when West Nile was out? Yeah. Our house was on a lake, and so we had mosquitoes. Mosquitoes come out really as families at in the summertime. So he ended up getting bit and ended up in the hospital, and he couldn't work. And so he felt like he had let the family down because he wasn't bringing in money at that time. But you were sick. And so I seen a whole different person, a person I never recognized. So I'm sitting here wondering, like, Lord, what am I going to do with this? Because I don't want my kids thinking that this is the way of life. We were married actually 4 years. And 4 years. I think it was 4 years because we've been divorced 7. But I was asking, I was like, okay, God, what do I do? Because I didn't want to tell my family and friends. They just like, oh, y'all the perfect couple. Because guess what? I'm always he and hi when I'm around my family and friends. So, I mean, like I say, everything wasn't always bad. We enjoyed each other. We had fun. We had fun with our friends. But that was that dark side, that dark side that could have had me gone now. Me not here for my kids, me not to see my kids turn 20 and 25. So I chose me, but guess what? It wasn't easy. It wasn't, I just woke up and, get out. That wasn't the case, because you got to understand, you can never understand the thought process of a narcissist or anyone that has a wicked way of looking at things, or a wicked way, or just evil. You can never, unless you're an evil person, you would never think like them. So what I have been teaching women is to love yourself, pay attention to yourself, pay attention to what you want and how you want it, instead of focusing just on that other person. Because unfortunately, we have lost women who, one of my girlfriends, she was able to get a coworker out the house. And, she was safe at her parents' house. She thought that 3 days had passed and she should have been good. She goes back to the house to get clothes for the kids. She didn't see his vehicle or anything in the yard. And when she walked in the door, she's not here anymore. Why? Because you cannot fathom how they process things. Do you really think that women are really just being nasty to the person? Or you really think that I was a bad wife? No. The way I'm acting now is where I always been. I am glad to say that I turned 50 last month, and I think I look fabulous for 50 and 2 kids later. Okay, so I enjoy life. Life is what we make of it. It's not about it. It's not about the next person. It's not even about our kids sometimes, because you have to take care of yourself. You have to put yourself first. I'm not saying go and spend all your money buying a handbag or not. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about taking the time to be aware of who you are, and then the things that you want and you desire. Understand? And so when you desire different things, yes, when we have kids, we kind of put some things on the back burner. I love traveling. I never put it on the back burner, but I strategically situated myself so that my kids were taken care of, and then I was able to have that free time for me. Why? Just to get my head back in the game. When you're a wife, you're a single parent, I'm telling you, women, we wear many hats. And we're trying to be there for the mother. We're trying to be there for our sisters and brothers. We're trying to be there for the kids. We're trying to be there for our man. We're trying to be there for our career. We're trying to be all these people, but we never stop and consistently take that time for self-care. I had to realize what I was doing. So I took the responsibility on myself. I forgave him, because guess what? I should have never married him, because I knew we were not on the same playing field. That's some real stuff, ain't it? To sit there and understand exactly what really happened. What really happened? This is what happened. I seen a man who handled business. So I'm sitting here thinking, oh, he business savvy, I'm business savvy. Shoot, we can put it together and we can make some things happen. That was not the foundation of a relationship. It wasn't even the foundation of love. And because I seen a man that was wounded because he didn't have his parents, he had his grandparents and his other family members, but he didn't have his mother and his father attention like he desired. So guess what Tangela was trying to do? She was trying to be that woman who come in and I'm gonna give you what you need. But do you know that I realized that wasn't my job? That wasn't my job. Let me tell you what happened. After the relationship, after we dissolved the relationship and he was sentenced and everything and sentenced to 4 years, I took time for me and I was like, okay, God, what is the common denominator? Because I believe when you attract somebody, there is something that bring y'all together. And so I was like, God, what is it? What is the common denominator with the people I've married or the people I've dated? What's the common denominator? And I heard it so clearly, wounded birds. And I say, wounded birds? What you mean by wounded birds? He showed me each male in my life, how they had a situation with a biological parent. And guess what where I fit in at? I was having an issue with my biological father. He wasn't there like I wanted him to be there. And I always wanted that. And so when I met people and I saw that kind of sort of solve that issue in them or help them to see it a different way or help them to change their perspective on it so then they can move forward in life. They were people I was to help, not to marry. And that I didn't know the difference. And so I didn't hold myself I don't walk around and say, oh my God, another failed marriage. And I never did that because I realized what I was doing. You cannot call it failure if you've never been taught or you've never been exposed to what is healthy, or you never talk to someone that says, this is a better way of doing things or seeing a relationship like the chart that he showed me. He showed me the equality chart, which was the healthy relationship. Then he showed me the one that's for the unhealthy relationship. I never knew those things exist. So I'm walking around in this world with both of them merged. Both of them merged. And so that's where we get off because we really don't know what does it look like. And so I said, well, God, I'll make that my mission to help women and men. I mean, because I like men. I love men too. As friends, and I like to help them understand what relationships is and the girls that's using them and all of that. That's a whole nother sermon. But back over here, I didn't hold myself accountable in that fashion because I didn't know. I can't be accountable for what I didn't know. Or maybe I knew and it was kind of twisted or it was all blended and mixed up together, but I didn't know. And the same can go for you. You don't know. And it's okay that you don't know. But guess what? Today, you can make that one decision to say, I'm going to know what a healthy relationship look like. A healthy relationship with myself. Let's start there. As parents, we put our kids first. We do. And that's great. But you have to put yourself in there as well. I was a single parent for a while. And so what I did was everybody had a month. So when I bought clothes or bought some extra or did whatever, entertainment or whatever, everybody had a month. So my daughter's birthday was in January. Guess what? January was her month. So she got new clothes, new shoes, new whatever. February was Valentine's Day. Well, I ain't had no man. So guess what? I spent that on me. I went to a restaurant or I bought myself a new outfit or I got me some new hair. I did that for me. So there's some ways that you can structure your life to make sure that you implement self-care. Every 3 months, I took time away. I had friends that were in other places. So guess what? I would go, hey, what y'all doing in March? Nothing. Okay. Can I come chill with y'all for 3 or 4 days? And so they'd be like, oh yeah, come on. So guess what? I didn't have to pay for a place to stay. All I have to do is just pay for my gas to drive my car to point B. And then I just sit there and I give them a whole day. Ask me about the kids, ask me everything about my life this one day. Because these other 3 days, act like I'm single. They safe, they good to go, but act like I'm single because I had to recharge. As women and males, we have to take those time to recharge. And during those times, that's when I look back and say, okay, you know what? That worked. That didn't work. So I'm going to stop doing this and I'm going to replace that with that. That's how you start self-care. So I realized in this relationship, I never stopped to assess, is this going the way I need it to go? Are we good? I never stopped in those 4 years because I'm thinking, well, there's some good and bad. I'll be all right. I'm still alive. Do you know that was a very immature way of looking at it? Because I could be dead today because I was looking at it that way. So now that's self-care. Now we talk about relationship with our siblings and our parents. These are people we can't get rid of. They're around. I have my mom, my sister, my brother. I have all of them, but you also have to know where to put everybody, position everybody. Some of us that we don't have our parents. Some of us, we have our siblings or we have people that are in those roles as our parent. We have to know where to put everybody. You can't be everything to everybody. You can't. So if Granny need a ride to the doctor, and you know that you have other siblings, hey, coordinate the ride. Don't take it on yourself. Well, they ain't gonna do nothing. Don't say it. Ask. Yeah, respect them enough to ask and say, hey, I had her last month. Can you get her this month? Because I have something else to do. Just arrange it. The same with your intimate partners. When it comes to your husband, it comes to your kids, it comes to those people that are real close to you. You still have to say, hey, I'm gonna need a chill time because I need to know if this working. I never took that chill time to see if that relationship was working. Working meaning, was it feeding me? No, he was devaluing me. He was devaluing me. He would do things and then come back and say, oh, baby, I'm so sorry. This will never happen. It happened 3 times. So I guess never really is not the definition in Webster. That's not the definition of never. Because you did it again. And so my thing is now I'm equipping people to be able to say, hey, you know what? This is not healthy for me. And I need to figure out an exit strategy. Because it's not always, like I say, walk out the door and I'm gone. Hey, I had a young lady that I rescued from Louisiana, met her family halfway, got her and the 3 kids. A week passed. He called, she was talking to him. We didn't know. She was talking to him. But he had, while she left the house. Yeah, she left the house and went to her parents. When she went to her parents, he put her truck on flat. She fixed it. He stole the truck. She got it back. He threw all her clothes in the dumpster. She had to get new ones. He tried to take the kids out of school. She had to. So it's so many things she had to do. So then finally she came to Houston. And so during this time, I'm like, okay, let's recalibrate your mind. Let's recalibrate your thought process so that we can figure out, okay, what's the best strategy in doing this? Because you have babies. Well, unfortunately enough, after that week, she rented her car and she went back home. And she said that he promised that he was going to, do better. I don't think he said he was going to stop seeing his mistress. I don't think he said he was going to replace those clothes. Now you walk around here with sweatsuits on. So it's certain things that you have to think about you. And if you're not going to think about you, think about your kids. During this pandemic, I have seen the numbers. Oh, the numbers are just elevating rapidly because why? You're sitting at home with the abuser. The abuser could have lost their job. Hate the fact that he can't work right now. He got to look at you. I really didn't want to be with you. Whatever the case may be, the kids at home, they're loud. They're this, they're that. Oh, we running out of food. There is no hand sanitizer. So the numbers were going up. The numbers were going up as well as death was going up, and it wasn't from corona, it was from domestic violence. Death is going up. And so that's where I'm like, okay, God, how do I handle this? How can we reach people? How can we reach women to help them to understand that, hey, you have a choice. It's just a decision. It's a decision to say, I will no longer leave me in the hands of someone else. I don't think we said it before, but if you have any questions and answer any questions, definitely put them in the chat right here on the right hand side. I think y'all see what I see, but on the right hand side, me looking at the computer is Q&A. So if you have any questions, please type them in at any time. They will be answered.
Miss Tangela, I have a question someone sent in through another way. It was, do you believe if they hit you once, will they hit you again?
I do believe they hit you once, they'll hit you again, but that's only based on, did he go get counseling? Did he go get therapy? Did he go get any kind of services to help him understand why it happened and that it can't happen again? But just someone verbally saying, oh, I won't do it again. He told me he wouldn't do it again. He did it 3 times. So you gotta understand, like I said, you really can't understand how they're thinking. You can't really understand their thinking, because if it hit you once, what was the purpose? What were you hitting me for? You know, I mean, was it a reaction? Or were you purposely trying to harm me? Because that's not love. Love never said, love doesn't hurt in that manner. It doesn't. So that's something that I would be very reluctant to say in.
Let me ask you this. So before, we've had people come to our series and ask questions, and some of them want to know, what is the first step in asking for help? You know, you stay silent again for so long, but what is the first step? Do you go to the police? Do you go to family? Do you have to hide your tracks? Like, where can they start?
Everybody have different people in their life. So some of the ways, because there's not just one way, some of the ways, like for me, the start was calling the police. But no, I take that. My first start was to get out of the house. My first start was to make sure that was division. But I did it in a nice way. Now, I wasn't nasty. I didn't steal something. Our lease was up, and I took that as our time to, let me go stay with my friend as we look for another house. You know what I'm saying? So that gave me they gave us that division, because he stayed at his dad's house and I stayed with her. So that gave me space to kind of, start, making the process and creating the safe plan. What I've seen women do is they talk to their parent. If their parent have the boldness, because some parents like, I'm not in there. I'm not in there. You chose him. He ain't even come shoot up my house. So if you have a parent that is bold, that get in your face, type of situation, then you can move to your parents and they got your back. But then on the other hand, I had a classmate who just shared with me last year how she lost her daughter. Her daughter moved home to them, went to her car just to get her notes for school, and he killed her in the driveway. So there is no one way. There's no one way. And so it's really talking to someone like me to help you strategize and think outside the box on how to do it safely. It's like talking to you, because you're the type of person that will sit down and let's kind of strategize, or get some professionals in here to show us how to move around. But you can't do this, because we good for talking. You can't tell people off, and I'm gonna leave anyway. You can't do all of that. You got to start moving in silence. Okay, if he's watching everything, he watching your computer, then don't do nothing on your computer. Always go to church. He ain't want to go to church with you. So then you meet someone there. Okay, I need someone that I can talk to, because I am in a very unsafe place, and I need to strategize how to maneuver out. You go to school, HCC, they have counselors in place. Go and talk. Hey, this is what's going on. I need a strategy to get out. Because I know there's one young lady that I met at ACC, and she was saying that she was scared to leave. And she said, he's gonna find me, he's gonna find me. She didn't even live in Houston. And I said, well, honey, it's time for you to go home. Finish this semester and go home. Because he ain't just come there. Because he don't know nobody there. Go home. And sometimes it takes that to go home and then wait a year or so, see what's going on, and then come back. But you gotta, there's no one answer, honestly.
We have another question, Ms. Angela. What about the domestic violence hotline? If you call the hotline, is it helpful? Will they give you resources or will they just have counseling?
They will give you resources, they'll give you counseling, but most of them don't know what's going on in your individual state or city. But when you talk to them, they'll give you some some help to tips on how to locate those resources.
As in Houston, so some of our students are here in Houston. What are just some, maybe off the top, if you know, places that can assist with moving them out, or where they can go if they need temporary housing? If I'm living there, we have our house together, but I don't have anywhere to go. Where else could I? Where could I go in Houston?
I had a whole list. I think it's out there on my desk in there. But one, start with Bridges. The Bridges is a place where you can go and live. They'll provide temporary housing. There is you can go online and look for ADVA, ADVA, and they can send you to different resources. If you're on the north side, it's called Family First. They provide counseling. They provide if you need attorney information, and then they have a shelter as well. Of course, it's not disclosed, so that's why I'm just giving you Family First. And it's actually in a building. They don't have no numbers, no nothing. They will have no markers. Exactly, no markers. They have to tell you exactly where it is, and then they'll tell you exactly where the shelter is. So there are some places that we have in place, but you have to actually be assessed to know if they're going to share that information or not. Because some people go back, and that's a hard assessment, because you have some, oh, I want to go, I want to leave. And then a week later, he like, baby, I'm gonna buy you a new car. And you're like, ooh, I'm gonna go bad. Girl, he got me a car. He ain't gonna do it again. And they end up going back. So the assessment is kind of lengthy, but it's for a reason. So if they do, if the process is long for you, trust me, it's not for you. It's to wean out the ones that are really just playing a game.
We have another question. What do you do when you see the verbal abuse and control happening to someone, but they don't see it?
Oh, ouch. It depends on who they are. Because if you have a personal relationship with someone, you can kind of, for me, this is what I do. I tell stories. And so their very situation, I share it in a story, like it's a client or a coworker, and I give the resolve in the midst of that. So I'm indirectly telling them, because you don't want them to get on the fence. Oh, you just don't want to see me happy. You just jealous. He ain't said, girl, he don't mean nothing by that, girl. That's just him, girl. You got to know him, girl. That's just him. So you don't know what they have and what story they've told themselves about the situation, the reason why they're staying in the situation. So if you tell a story, or you tell about a coworker, that coworker ain't got to exist, but just create her narrative as a story. And then say, girl, what do you think? I mean, because girl, I really want to help her. And she don't know actually talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
And so hopefully that'll click some things.
What about financial abuse? We talk about the physical, the verbal, but what about the financial abuse?
Financial abuse. Okay, I've seen financial abuse in the where that, you all happy, and we're talking about women. Well, it can happen for men too, because we do have men that abuse as well. But for the women, you all happy, tell your friends how, oh, girl, he paying all the bills, girl, he got this, he this and that. But what we have to do is be mature enough to always have that stash on the side that don't nobody need to know about. So then you won't be in financial abuse because you already got your stash. My one of my clients, her grandmother called it, I wish a person would fund. That's what she got. I wish a person would fund. I'm being nice. She would. I wish she would. Deuces. So we have to understand, even though you're in love, even though you're in a relationship, even though he's doing all of this and then he's rationing out money to you, you have to start finding something. You know what, babe? I think I really want to start working, or I want to start this business. You got to figure out a way to start bringing your money in without him paying attention. Because that same husband, he thought that I only made like $500 in the salon. You thought I was going to change that? Yeah, okay. Yeah. But I always had my stash on the side. And so when you see him doing this, treating you in that manner, then that's when you know I need to get my hustle on. So I know how to sew. I know how to, you know how to do something. You know how to do some braids. You know how to do something and start putting your money aside.
So with abuse, they talk about, oh, get a restraining order. Do restraining orders help?
They do not help because it ain't nothing but a piece of paper. What the police officer told me was the laws here, and what we're trying to do is change the laws now, because what we realized when I was going through, we had to retrain the police force. We had to retrain them, because in their minds and what was on paper was they had to actually see the person do something to you for them to do anything. Two, you had to say certain words. Now, if you didn't know the word, they wouldn't have done anything. So that restraining order is just that. It's a piece of paper. Tell me how that piece of paper gonna stop that bullet if he's sitting in his car shooting you in the driveway. So that's why I say you have to really think. You got to have an open mind. They have some things in place, but some of those things are not worthy to even be in place. Because a restraining order, if that dude don't care about your mama, your sister, you, your life, the kids, what makes you think he care about a piece of paper? He don't care about the police. He don't care about any of that. I had a close client. She divorced hers. See, that's what I'm saying. You got to pay attention at all times. This not I'm going to leave him and I'm going to go on and everything. No, you need to be constantly looking over your shoulder, not like I'm doing it, but, just kind of like, I'm feeling kind of eerie. I'm not going to go that direction. She divorced. He lived where he lived. She done bought a new house, got her a new dude. One morning, he parked up the street. He walked up the driveway. The dude was leaving. I don't understand what kind of man he was, because why, if that's your woman, why did you leave her ex-man? Anyway, but he drives off and he came and he unloaded the whole clip in her face, in her garage, in front of their daughter. I don't know what they're thinking. So you can't just act like everything's okay. You can't act like because you got that restraining order that means something. It really it's supposed to. It look good, but then you also got to make sure you have. I don't know what to call it. You just got to be aware, and you got to stay aware, because you just don't know how they're processing life. They don't know if they're good without you. They don't know if they're good with you. They got their own thought process.
I have a friend who is married, and just the thought process of her husband, and I've talked to her about it, but the thought process of her husband, she says, I have to be careful with some of my words as I create this plan to leave. And she says, it's not that no one is trying to help me or I'm not trying to help myself, but I understand. I don't know where he is coming from. If I'm to say, I'm going to go get me an apartment until we figure this out, she doesn't understand. She says, so she's creating a small plan.
That's it.
For an exit strategy. And her process thing is his mother lives with them in their home. And so she says that I have to be on the defense with him and also the defense with the mother. So she doesn't tell him anything. But like you said, it's a different story for everybody. Everybody's exit strategy or what they have to go through will be the same. There's some people where it's a clear cut beeline. I go to police, I go to my mom's house, I file for divorce, and it's over. That's some people. But then there's some people where it goes here, there, up, around, back, looped, and it's not the same.
Yeah. And so that's why I don't give one pattern for nobody, because there is no one set pattern. It's not. And if it's dealing with money, I have to pay for my divorce. I didn't have to pay for that. He was in jail. And even though he was in jail, he still had rights. So, you know, Abda paid for the divorce. They fought the whole fight for me. They did everything for me. So Abda is excellent. And then family time, they counseled my kids because I want to make sure that there was no residue from anything going on with my kids and as well as myself. Because even though you get out, you still, some people are still in, they still stuck in mentally. They're still bound mentally. And so you have to take all the necessary precautions to make sure that you are back to 100 or you're back whole.
I think we answered all the questions in the Q&A. But Miss Angela, if someone
that lead up to physical abuse that you can be aware of, what are some signs that lead up to physical abuse? Some of the signs are the fact that they are violent towards other people. If you see that they'll slap somebody in the street because they ran over, you know, or they hit their car, then that's a sign. If you see that when y'all talking and they become enraged and all thing you asked was, did you bring the bread? You know, that's a sign. If you see that they don't get along with nobody in the family, you know, everybody like he the problem, you need to start paying attention. That those are all part of the signs. You know, but we look over it like, oh, he all right. He don't be like that with me, but you don't understand that that could be you.
So as in with women, you know, like you were saying that, oh, I'm with somebody because they love me and we're here together. For just trying to get the question out.
Mm-hmm.
Not even the verbal part, but the controlling the mind games they play. I know. Can you talk on that? Like I didn't hear you speak about. I know you talked about it before in some of our previous sessions, but with this one, like with some of the mind games that they can play. Not necessarily I'm talking to you, babe, but I'm playing a mind game.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's the role of a narcissist. If you look up narcissists, that's one of the roles is manipulation. And so they get you in your mind, they get your thought process. And so what we want to do as women, we want to feel secure that, okay, I got a man that say he got my back at all times. But you got to understand, what do you mean by have your back? You know, because when he's walking around telling you, you know, you ain't got nobody but me. You know, I'm the only one for you. You know, I'm the only one that can protect you. See how your dad, he really didn't do nothing. You see how he start comparing himself with other people. He's rolling down, he's creating that. You're right. I mean, he did say that. And you get caught up in it and you don't realize that you get caught up in it. Like my ex really believed the things that his dad was saying. Like his dad was telling him, oh, she's a lesbian. And you know, that's how she paying the bills. You know, and he comes home and he's like, and I'm sitting there like, what's the problem? Are you messing with women? Because you do have a salon. Yeah, they hair. I mean, I'm not understanding, you know. And so you have to start paying attention to what is being said. And if it's out of the love for you, or is it out of, like you say, control? Because he's the head of the house. Yes, he is, but it's not to dominate the house. There's a huge difference. And the difference is how you feel on the inside. When he tell you something and you feel like you just went back to a little girl, that's a problem. If he said something, you just like, that wasn't right. That Ashley didn't say that. Ashley said she liked me. Why is he telling me that? You remember how did you see how she was looking at you? You gotta understand, you gotta pay attention to all that they're doing. And the thing is, you can't defeat this person because he constantly thinking like, how I'm gonna get her. I'm gonna get her on my side. She's gonna forever be on my side. She's gonna listen to me forever. I got her. You gotta pay attention to all of that. Because some of it is not out of love.
Let's see if you got anything else.
What about domestic violence hotline? Okay, you asked that. Thanks, Ms. Harris. The Houston Area Women's Center is a helpful place. Yes, it is. You can also go here, yeah.
I think we answered everything inside.
This last one, it said, what happens if you see verbal and mental abuse in public, but you feel it is not your business to get involved? Wow. Honestly, how I handle it is I actually pray. The reason why I say I actually pray is because you don't know the whole story. That person might think that being abused mentally, physically, emotionally is just a way of love. You don't understand the mindset of that person. Is it wrong? Yes, it is. But you don't understand the dynamics of their relationship. And so what I do, I ask God to intervene. However that looks. Unfortunately, one of my friends, her son, the guy was hitting the girl and her son at the gas station. And they pull up at the gas pump and the guy is just wailing on the girl, and so he goes and he tries to break him up, not so much to save her but just to break him up. So when he broke him up, the girl ran, and then the boy ended up beating him down and was beating him up, and then the police was like, well, you shouldn't have got involved, and that was it. That was all that was said about it. And yeah, and so he ended up having to go to therapy for that, because he just like, I saved a woman, didn't I? He was 19. He was like, I saved her, but y'all didn't do. They didn't bring up no charges.
So again, there's areas for policy because you don't know. You want to say something again. People want to speak out against this, not be silent about it and help, but then in the process of it, they get hurt. Or they get innocent, an innocent bystander. I get shot because I tried to break up, and help someone or help remove someone. And then I know you talked about people helping someone come out of that process, but can you talk about like how they can do it safely? Like, I don't want to go help move your things out the house and then I get ran over in the parking lot trying to help you move your items.
See, now that you have to, when I say you have to have a firm, I know that at work somebody called and know that they're at work, or you know that they're out of town. You got somebody, hey, he's sitting right here. Or even if you call and say, hey, babe, what you doing? Are you still there? What's going on? You have to know that it can't be an inkling. It can't be, well, girl, I'm gonna do it today. No, you need to know, or buy some new stuff, because sometimes that stuff is not worth your life. The lady that I talked about earlier, she went back for the stuff, and he killed her right there in the house getting the stuff. So you got to understand where that person is. And like I say, it's no cookie cutter. I can't say, well, if it's A, B, C, and D, don't go. I wish I could, but I can't, because again, you can't think like them. His car wasn't even in the yard. So that means he kind of already knew that she was going to come. And so when she walked in the house, and then way my girlfriend described this man don't look like he would hurt a fly. But you don't understand how a person feel when they feel like they're being rejected or they feel abandoned. A whole nother person will be revealed. So that's where you got to get some professionals in there, or if you can, have somebody else go do it. Not necessarily you, but let somebody else go, the brother, the sister, or have someone else to do it versus you, because they're only after you. The same is true for males. The woman sitting there beating them down. Why? Because mom taught him not to hit women back. Well, because he ain't hitting back. Now this woman sat here and whooped his butt for 3 years, to the point where he had to finally call the police because she cut his hand. She cut him. Just cut him up. She just did all kind of stuff to him because she knew he wasn't gonna do it back. But guess what? When the police came, they looking at him like, you couldn't take her? What? But if he would have hit her, he would have been in jail. But guess what? They didn't. See,
just a type of not of what are you supposed to do, and there's no write it down. This is how you follow it.
Yes. Yep. And so when they didn't arrest her. They just asked her to go somewhere else to de-escalate the situation. But that didn't solve nothing. And so he took it upon himself. Well, he said he stayed because of his kids. He said he wanted his kids to have this. See, people have in a mindset how they want their life to be. You can't go against it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, your friend have a husband that's probably verbally abusing her and everything, but she having in her mind that I want my family to be together because I didn't have my dad. So I'm gonna make sure my kids have their dad. Now, if I gotta take what he doing, I'm just gonna take it because my kid. So that's what I'm saying. You can't just say you need to leave him. You need to do. You can't do that because it's going against the vision she had for her family, and so she's gonna sacrifice being belittled because her kids have a father. But they don't understand that you also setting your child up to act the same way and create the same narrative in their life when they're older.
Dr. Harris, I think we've answered everything in the chat. I don't have anything else here.
And HPD
Oh, yeah, I do.
today intervening in a domestic dispute. My God, oh God, that is terrible. I mean, I'm telling you, this is so big, and we try to contain it, but it's so hard because you have so many different individuals with different situations. For me, I discovered me. I discovered Tangela in the midst of all this because I was marrying people because I didn't like who I was at the time. So now I discovered me, and now I'm helping women to discover who they are so they can make the bold decision to say, you know what, babe, we're not good together. I don't want to see nobody else hurt. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
The checklist, can you email that to me? We have some students who've asked for it, and if you can send that to me and I can send it out to them.
I just found it too, but I'll email it to you.
Can you send it to me? I have some, and then we have some students that came in while they were in class. Just let you guys know this is been recorded. And so if you missed the beginning of it and the information is going to be rebroadcasted, we have it on our YouTube page, so we can always reference back. I can email that out to students. We'll put it on our Facebook page for students to be able to access this presentation right here so they can send it out to students. You can rewatch it. You can come in, get the information that was given. So just know that it's still going to be available after we finish with Dr. Tangela Harris. But Dr. Harris, you've given so much information, and I know when we're on campus and you're talking to our students, is there a way that students can reach you if they feel comfortable with you saying, hey, somebody talked about this and maybe she can guide me in the right direction of helping? And if you want to talk about your program that you also as well offer.
Okay. I was sitting there like, oh, let me make sure I leave my website. My website is www.tangelaharris.com. My email on there. Always email me. I'm not gonna tell you I'm gonna answer the phone because I get so many calls on that business phone. So email me and we can chat because some people don't want to be identified, and I am fine with that. I am cool because I was embarrassed in the beginning. Now I don't care. I tell the world. And so what I do have support groups where we come and we just talk, we just gather monthly and we just talk about just life. Because as women, we wear many hats and sometimes we just don't know how to handle all of it. And so what we do is we come together and kind of help each other to balance our life. That's number one. And then number two, I'm a life coach and a Christian counselor. And so if you ever need any of those services, because life coaching is just helping you through life and it's coaching you through different situations and circumstances in life. And so all that information is on my website. And you can email is on there and everything.
And if you need information, feel free to contact me. Yes. Our Student Life webpage, all those channels that we have, contact me if you need to personally, and I can get you in touch with Ms. Harris. Yes. But I thank you again so much for just coming and being transparent about your journey, transparent about this process, and just speaking on a topic that we kind of hide and we just shelter away from, but it's happening again. Like you said, with the pandemic, it needs to be talked about. So I thank you so very much today for giving us your time. And my Eagles, I thank you guys so much for coming out and joining us during this discussion. And again, if you have any questions about anything, you can reach out to us at hgc.studentlife@hccs.edu. And we will see you on the next go round, Eagles. Thank you guys so much.
Bye.
Bye.